trained up here. Not really, but just different.
Sure.
He looks good, but it's not where I would expect him to be.
We'll give you a second to get settled. This is the sheriff's office. In prior years, Sheriff, you would have been asked a different question, but considering the budgetary constraints and with the understanding of a status quo recommended budget, what does that entail for the operations of your department? And just for the viewing audience, if you can provide a brief synopsis of the services that you provide for the city, and then the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I appreciate being here. I would like to introduce our Director of Finance for the Sheriff's Office, Mr. Pete Lutz, our Chief of Administration, Mr. John Hudson, our HR Director, Mr. Evan Bayless is in the back, and our Chief Warrant Officer, Mr. John Taylor as well, and many, many good people across the street and down the street working very hard for the Sheriff's Office today, and very proud of them and what we do. The Sheriff's Office in Nashville is a little bit unique compared to other cities if you're new to Nashville, and we have two primary functions that we perform for the city, and one of those most notably, I think, is we house all arrestees. We book and process everyone who's arrested for any charge. We maintain custody of that person until their adjudication of their case, and either taking them to prisons or other facilities or obviously released back into the community. It's a large part of our responsibility. The other part of that is that we're really in charge of all the civil law enforcement, over 200,000 papers a year, divorce, garnishment, order protections, evictions, those types of things. We run that throughout the community and throughout the county for the city of Nashville. We have a very large part of the government. A lot of folks always ask that question. You'll see our numbers in the 900s today as employees go. And a large part of obviously what we do is house people, which is also very costly, and that's where the budget comes from for the Sheriff's Office. So very proud of the organization that we have. The Sheriff's Office is the most diverse organization racially in this city. We take great pride in that. I don't know very many law enforcement agencies in the country that look exactly like the community they represent, but we do. I'm very proud of that and worked hard over the years from 16 years ago to make it representative of our community. The other thing is we have one of the lowest turnover rates in the country. We work very hard at hiring the right people. I tell people all the time, if you hire the right ones, you train the right ones, you should try to keep the right ones, and we do that very aggressively, and I think we're pretty concentrated on our staff because that's 80+% of this budget that you give to us, and we think we should hire and maintain the best that you can have. So with that, Madam Chair, I'll be happy to answer any questions and go through anything you need to.
Yes, lit up for you, Sheriff.
Uh-oh.
Vice
Never
Chair
good.
Schulman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sheriff, I just happened to hit my button first. So walk us through the additional positions that you're going to need, particularly the one concerning, I guess, the Harding complex and kind of the history of it and why the need for the positions.
Sure, I'm glad you asked that. To be honest with you, this is an underfunded issue. If you go down on the list, I have it on a list, it may be in there, where last year, for the first time in 16 years, the Sheriff's Office had to have a supplemental because we were underfunded. I came to this body, 2.5 years ago as we were talking about moving and the displacement of people to the Harding Place site. The mayor at the time, the administration, made a decision to keep the parks open out on the Harding Place. At that time, that was about a $2 million increase to the security apparatus, fences and lights, because you were going to have a park running inside for the first time ever of a major correctional environment. So the cost to build that was pretty easy to put your hands around because you had fences and we could do that. That was late in the budget year. What wasn't known was what it was going to cost to maintain that security apparatus. And what that really means is you have an officer 24 hours a day working a post, so people coming on and off the campus. There's actually 2 posts there. And for other reasons, there were bodies needed, people needed, to operate what is now a security campus instead of just facilities. And so that's another, and that happened, 2.5 years ago. Late in that budget year, though, if you remember, that decision was made actually during budget season, very complicated issue. So we went back, a year and a half ago now and said, look, we don't have the funds to operate these positions. The neighborhood and that community, as you well know, we committed to make it secure while this is being built. Knock on wood, it's been a very secure campus for us, but it takes the positions, and that's what this really is. These aren't new. They're out there now. They've been out there for 2 years. We had to come up here last year. You guys helped us with a supplemental of $916,000. This is just reinstalling that same supplemental. It's really not new at all.
So I remember when the supplemental came through. So it's showing up as new positions, but they're out there anyway. We funded them with the supplemental?
Yes, sir.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
So they're just showing up as new positions this year, so that explains it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think there was
Oh, yeah.
6 other positions, the steering clear, is that it?
Yeah, and let me, a couple little things. I see Diane Lancer coming next, the Family Justice Center. Those aren't positions, but that's money to actually provide security. The Sheriff's Office provides security in all the buildings in the government. They are opening the Family Justice Center out on Murfreesboro Road. You'll hear about that later. This is to fund, the 241 is to fund the security positions there for half a year once they open their building. It comes in our budget. We will staff that for them, but that's really that second bullet, I guess, $241,000. The 6 positions at the FTEs of 470. The public defender, Dawn Diener, applied for this basically through Mayor Berry's efforts on the PIP, if you remember the terminology PIP. They were awarded this money under the public defender, and quite frankly, the Sheriff's Office is a large operation, so it could administrate such a program. The public defender felt like it would do better working in our operation. I think it will. So this is just moving existing money from the public defender's office or from an existing PIP budget, my understand, to ours. It's not new either. It's just transferring over from another operation.
Okay. So one last question, and Councilman Glover will understand why I'm asking this. On the $241,000, which I think are the contractual increase with the Family Justice Center, that's a half. That's only for 6 months?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next year, assuming this stays in, then we need to pay for the full amount.
Yes, sir.
All right? So again, what we're trying to be careful of is we're trying to monitor those things that we only do part way through, so that next year we'll know that it's not going to be $241,000, it's going to be closer to $500,000.
That's a good thing to point out, you guys, for sure. The other thing is this is contingent on them opening in December. One of the things that I'll commit to you is we won't hire them until they're ready to go, but if there was delays, this money wouldn't be spent. But it's going on their schedule, I think, of a December opening, and we would need it for the second half of the year.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Chair. Sheriff, good to see you.
You as well?
All right, so let's go ahead and let's stay down that vein on the 241, because Councilman Schulman's exactly right. He and I have had numerous conversations, as of several of us in here, talking about the fact that we're not looking far enough ahead. And I was here when we did that contentious budget where, you know, we moved you guys and made some moves in the final budget of the Dean administration. Okay, so the Family Justice Center, we know that's going to go to $500,000 and basically non-negotiable.
Right.
Okay. So there were some other things that we had talked about when you were here before, and you had said some additional positions and some additional expenses that you really had not anticipated. And so can we talk through that as far as how they might be accommodated in here, how they may not be accommodated in here? If they're not accommodated, what exactly does it mean? And what would be needed in order to rectify and correct that, if I may ask?
Yeah, I think the issue that Councilman Schulman brought up about the $1 million, it looks like new positions. I've been very concerned in the last 18 months that we weren't funded correctly back 18 months ago on the Harding campus. I went to Mayor Briley soon after his transition. Sit down with him and explain why we do not need new programming. I want to support the ideas of the status quo. We're not trying to ask for that, but I was very happy that it was included in his budget, really to install the funding that needed a year ago, because that campus is running very well right now in a very difficult time, in a very difficult situation. And we can't run it without these positions. And again, they've been out there, 18 months now, and two years. So that's critical to us. Obviously, we, like other agencies in the government, had ideas to do better things with bigger things, but we don't have the money. We realize that. And this is what we need just to keep us floating for the next year.
Okay, and so the 916.4, we see reduction from the supplemental appropriation. Is that what moved into the $1 million category?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure of that. And so with this, while it's, quote, status quo, then it does accommodate what you feel will be necessary. Now, here's the other question that I think is important that I don't remember the answer to, and I ask, or somebody here on the floor ask you, when do you feel like you'll be moving people from Harding back to downtown? Will that be in the next 12 months, or will it be greater than that?
That's the really important issue for us. The construction itself, they're telling us, is about 18 months away, let's say September of 19.
Okay.
If they handed us the keys today and the construction was finished, we need 90 days to practice in the building, food and transports and everything else. So realistically, you're a late 19, very early 20 of operation. So I think we will be up here. I'd like to be up here this time next year asking for what I would call a transition budget just to get us up and running. Some of that will be overlap. I have mentioned this to Mayor Briley, and I surely hope that the city will do this, that we need to do a staffing analysis for our operation. It's not expensive, but we need it to be independent so you guys would trust it more than if it were coming from the agency maybe. Because we need you to understand that, like the police and fire and other places, when you're in these 24-hour-a-day operations and you decide to change the policy to provide family leave, that's a very expensive operation to change a policy, but it causes and requires us to hire more people or pay more overtime, and we're a fan of hiring more people and reducing overtime. And so the staffing it will take to run our operation when we open this new building needs to be objectively evaluated. I would encourage and hope I can walk in here with you with somebody that reports that out and tells you roughly what it needs. It's a very complicated formula to come up with exactly the relief factor is what we're talking about. That's critical to the future of the Sheriff's Office in Nashville as it relates to our budget. So this time next year, I hope to be up here in front of you asking for some sort of an analysis of that.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'm going to ask that we not wait for a year from now. I really feel like that we probably need to know those numbers sooner rather than later, simply because I think we need to begin preparing for next year on what that's going to be, because that's something that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, that's another non-negotiable position. Because you will be moving people from Harding back to downtown. It's something that we've spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars on for this facility across the street. And so if we could, Madam Chair, whenever we are able to, I realize we got to get through this budget process and everything, but I think we really need to start understanding what those numbers are much sooner rather than a year from now, to where we are able to be prepared. And even if it's, first of all, if you tell me that's what it's going to cost, I got to tell you, Sheriff, that's what I will take that to the bank. I don't worry about that. But if you give us an idea and you want to get an independent somebody to look at it, et cetera, that's fine. But I don't think it would hurt for us to begin looking at that much sooner rather than later.
Can I mention one other thing that hits on that question that's going to be complicated going forward? It is very likely, almost guaranteed, that the building that you're building across the street is going to be more efficient. There will be fewer people needed, let's say, per hour to operate the building, the better sight lines, better equipment technology. But it is also very likely at the same time that it takes more people to cover those posts than we have today. Because you're now giving them family leave and FMLA, and we have the most people deployed of anybody in the government. We have a lot of recruitment. We're in Clarksville this week trying to recruit employees. So the point is, all of that leave requires a thing called relief factor to fill the posts. So the building will be more efficient than we've ever had, but it may take more people than we've ever had to cover fewer posts. That's just the way we are. And I'm all for family leave, but we weren't funded for it. It wasn't evaluated very well as a program. I think it's a great idea. But to do that, it's very expensive. I think it's a $350,000 overtime issue for us. So we need to know that going forward so we can hire the people to fill the vacancies without paying overtime on every post.
Okay. I agree with you. I think these are critical issues that we need to understand, and so I appreciate you answering the questions. And again, once we finish this budget process, Chair, I would simply request that the sooner we can know these numbers and start kind of feeling what those are going to look like and understanding those, I would have a better comfort level on knowing how we move forward, because if we think this year's tough, we can only imagine what next year looks like. So anyway, thank you, Chair.
I've noted that, Councilman, and the sheriff isn't the only department head that's expressed concerns as it relates to family leave moving forward. Councilman Cooper.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, Sheriff, for being here. Two quick questions. One, if you'd comment on population census, as you see, particularly trends over time. And then secondly, I remember the last several years, I wanted to ask about accreditation, which is always something that I think this community should be very proud of, how you all are evaluated on a national standard, and if you would just comment on that.
Yeah, very proud of that. We were the first organization in the country to get a thing called the Crystal Eagle Award. That means everything you do is accredited. A lot of places will try to accredit their new fancy jail. Very few people try to accredit an old warehouse turned into jail called the Hill Building. And we have the only standalone training academy in the United States that was accredited. And so we're very proud that we live under standards that are accepted by the federal court. It saves you and I a lot of money in a courtroom later on, we think. Our chief of corrections is in Canada tonight. He's normally here. He is going to be the vice president of the American Correctional Association really soon, and we're very invested in trying to meet national expectations and standards. Very, very proud, I think, of where this city has come from in this line of work. I went to work there in 1988, and the federal court took over the jails because the people running them didn't know what to do, literally. The federal court ordered us to live under these things called ACA standards. We didn't know what they were. And now here we are some 30 years later as one of the few people in the country that everything we do is certified. So I'm very, very proud of that. It doesn't really get a lot of attention. I really appreciate you bringing that out. Our census population jail in virtually every category is trending downward. That is a great thing. I was asked last night at an event with our staff about where will we be when we move these folks back and how many facilities will we need to operate. All trends are that we will be able to not only reduce our population, but maybe close some more of our smaller facilities on the Harding campus once all this happens. Those are all really good things. I'm sure you've heard one of the things that concern us the most, though, within that census is the type of person we're talking about, the mentally ill that are now being brought into the system. We have a great diversion alternative. I don't know if you read the paper today, but St. Thomas is now going to open what I understand is a mental health hospital in the Metro Center, the first time in my lifetime. There's been a hospital opening up for the mentally ill. Now we will have one available there, and if the unfortunate event, a person is also arrested, then they could come to a non-jail but a diversionary program. And so although the population is shrinking, the difficulties within what we're housing, the types of person, continue to be a challenge for us and a difficult thing to manage going forward. So numbers are down, but the difficulties are still there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Cooper. Councilman Pratmore.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you all for being here. Councilman Cooper, you asked the questions I was in the queue for. However, I would like to say just again our condolences, this being Law Enforcement Week. Deputy Newsom was memorialized today. I just wanted to offer our condolences. Thank you.
Thank you, and for their family I talked to last week. Really appreciate FOP and Metro Police, including him, in that recognition years ago. And one of the more difficult days in my time ever in this line of work. The sheriff's office hadn't lost an officer at that time in many, many years, and the police department took us by the hand and got us through that. Something you may not know is 7 months later, we were raising money for the son of Mr. Newsom. We were out in Mount Juliet and raising money for his son, Joseph. And at the time we were raising that money, literally, Officer Paul Scurry was killed when we were there. And it was a unfortunate bonding of those two tragic events that, as far as I'm concerned, was a difficult, but in some ways maybe a bonding that our staff have learned to appreciate. And I appreciate you guys including them in the recognition.
Council Lady Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Vercher. Thank you, Sheriff Hall, everyone, for being here. And thank you for all of the work that you do. I was just listening to your response in regards to the new policy change and the impact it has on staffing. And so I just wanted to get an idea of what generated some of those concerns. Did you have some preliminary data that shows an immediate impact as a result of that change? And can that be also shared with the council?
Yeah, I tell you what we do. Our HR division manages this every day, and here's our difficulty. Because we're a 24/7 post, someone has to be on this post 24/7. Every time we, the government or federal government or state or local government, or for that matter, things like the military leave and so forth, impact the number of days that an individual is off from work or can be off from work, then we're having to hire either overtime or additional people to fill that vacancy. And so 2 or 3 years ago, before Family Leave Act, let me just make up a number, I don't have it in front of me. If the number of days you would expect Officer Hall to be out was 7, I'm using that number, but now you're going to allow him to have Family Leave Act, which I think is fine, except that means he may be gone 10 days a year. And those 10 days, when we're prepared for only 7 days to him to be gone, those 3 days he's out, your dollars are either going to pay overtime or a new person to come in here. And so my suggestion would be to the council or the city is if you're going to make such a program like Family Leave, we should have a price tag that goes with it, and we should fund it when you make that decision. I don't mean you as a body, but a city. Because I can't speak for the police, but we're $350,000 to $400,000 underfunded for that program. And if you keep adding police and fire, I'm suspecting that's millions. And the issue is, when they're gone, we're burdening officers who shouldn't be working doubles and triples to cover spots because we didn't expect that many people to be out of our post. We've done a lot of work on the cost associated and the numbers. What I mentioned, I think, to maybe Councilman Glover is that's just one of them. There's many, many other things that impact that. Bereavement leave, military leave. And as a sheriff's office, we need, and I prefer that we have a staffing analysis done so you guys know what all the programs are costing and what the overtime amounts really are.
Okay, well, that's what I do every day. I'm in the healthcare arena, and I've been in an environment where we've had hospitals operating 24/7, which everyone knows that, and I'm currently in an environment where that's also the case. And FMLA is unpaid leave, and what the policy did for Metro government was allowed that time to be paid. So I'm not sure if I understand what impact that would have in changing what was previously done, because people are entitled to the FMLA anyway. They've always been entitled to that, and it was always given as unpaid leave. But with the change in Metro, it allows for mothers and people who take care of their family members to be able to still continue to have their FMLA, but they are paid during that time. And so I thought that that was a very positive thing for our employees here in Metro. It shouldn't have any kind of impact in terms of people being off more so than others, because FMLA has always been there. People have always taken off FMLA because that's something that they're entitled to. So I just would love to see the numbers for that. Going into the other situation of the timeline of when you're going to transition people from Harding over to the building across the street, I heard you say you've been in discussions with the mayor, and when the transition took place, you sat down with Mayor Browley. But I also want to encourage you to do the same with the Southeast council members, since that does still have an impact on our area, because many of our constituents still have asked us questions as to what the timeline is. So we would appreciate also having that sit-down time and being in the loop on that timeline as well. But thank you for everything you're doing. You're doing an excellent job, and I look forward to getting additional information. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Johnson. Council Lady Hurd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't have a question, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Steering Clear because I know that it has impacted people's employment and given them that opportunity to have their driver's license restored. It's very, very important, and I just wanted to make that acknowledgement.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you, Council Lady Hurd. Sheriff, seeing no other council members seeking recognition, that concludes your hearing. Thank you so much to you and your staff and the service that you provide to the city. Thank you so much.